Contra is, it's a word that you have in French, contre, but it means something quite specific, right? It means against. In English, you can't really use the word contra that way. It's not commonly used, but it holds the same meaning of against. And I think that the album is kind of about that concept of opposition.
And I think basically what I meant was now that this is our second record and not just the debut, and people have get more of a picture of, I guess, what we're about, it can start to sound, and hopefully people can start to recognize a style of our own, as opposed to, the debut album. Naturally, you need to compare it to things that have come before and possibly reductive equations or whatever to how we arrived at our sound. But now the second record is out and it both expands and continues on certain concepts and things that we're trying to do. Hopefully, a certain style people can see and can hear and can be recognized as a Vampire Weekend thing.
I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. It's kind of a cliche, but ultimately we have to live with these records for the rest of our lives, so we have to be happy with them.
Really into the finality of these things.
And we also, we want to push ourselves to do things that we haven't done before and to explore different feelings and express different things than we did with the first record. I think maybe on this record we were inspired by these bands from the 90s that were kind of punk bands that were carrying the torch of Jamaican music, but in Southern California. Like, for me, I'd say Sublime. It's one of those bands that I listened to a lot when I was younger.
If an interesting culture should be lining walls, when your birthright is interest, you could just accrued off. Me and my cousins and you and your cousin.
Okay, well, California was a place that we experienced together in the sense that on our first tours, California is kind of this destination. It's like the halfway point. And when you get to the coast, you feel something. The air is different. You feel a sense of optimism, maybe. You experience sort of all the different kinds of nature that California has, the different climates and a different attitude. And I guess that was inspiring for us.
There's a persistent concept that New York and California are kind of opposed, and these two, polar opposites. I mean, not complete opposites, but yeah, I think to us when we're out there, you see a lot more differences than you do. And California is usually typified as kind of this beach tan, with pretty people kind of vibe, which is not the case at all for the entirety of California. It probably is just a small segment of it. So I think we each have different things that inspire us out of California. I would say that more recently I've read a lot of Joan Didion and a lot of her stories and short stories, nonfiction and fiction, that are set in California that have really been evocative to me, of kind of showing me how I really don't understand that place very well, where I can be there and visit there, but
My brothers lived in LA for the past few years, so just getting to know LA, I feel like there's so many different parts of it. It hasn't been there for very long, and that kind of defines it in some way. None of it existed like 150 years ago, whereas other places like Paris maybe have been around forever.
Where I grew up in New Jersey was kind of a small town in between big cities, so rarely bands would ever stop anywhere near you. So it always felt special when a band would come. So hopefully, kids from these small towns will feel excited that we're coming to their town.
Yeah, it was kind of a blur for us because we were in the middle of finishing the album, so I think that was on our minds, but it was definitely something we enjoyed doing. And it was an experience,
When a number of them started throwing plastic beer bottles at each other, we took that as a good thing. song, yeah, Party in the USA. I don't know if that is maybe has such a cross-cultural. Maybe it's as Americans. Maybe it means more to us.
No, I don't think so.
But I think
maybe
it translates the
to
general vibe of that song is it's very cheerful. It's kind of a coming of age story, and yeah, it's. I had a party in my apartment a month or so ago, and I think that played 3 times. I think, or 2, or something.
I'm not sure what that song has to do with America.
USA just being a place, but.
Maybe it does. Maybe it's about Nashville and LA and
Cultural differences, but ultimately the cultural connections.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.